Hi, welcome to Quilted Cactus. We are continuing on with our Shamballa Designs Secret Sew. This is part 2 of the Secret Sew. Full disclosure, at the time of the recording of this video, which today is May 2nd, she has released all 4 pieces of the pattern. So currently now the full pattern is out, available for sale on her website. And yes, I have seen the final look of the bag. So it's kind of hard not to see it, but I do know what the bag looks like at the time of the recording of the video. However, I've not divulged into a lot of the details, just the final product. So with that being said, I will go over the pieces that I cut for delivery number 2, and then that way you can see as any future secret sews, you can see how she lays it out, and that way if you're interested again in a secret sew, I think this has been fun. I wish I would have followed it as she put them out. I just had other things going, so I couldn't do them as they were released. But I was, downloading and trying to at least keep up with cutting and things of that nature. So the pieces that we cut out for delivery number 2 for the Secret Sew is actually deals with the lining. So she has you create the lining. So you're going to cut 2 lining pieces, and this is the lining. And I can't tell you when I cut the lining because I had already had the lining cut prior to the full final picture. I like the shape of the bag. The cute little curvature of the bag. So you're going to need 2 lining pieces. And again, I chose this at Zen. This is Zen Blossoms from Tulip Bee. And I ended up not using that tan, almost dark tan color that I had previously stated. I ended up having enough of this, so all of my lining pieces are the Zen Blossoms, which I'm glad for. Okay, and you're also going to need, it's called a bias strip. This is for your slip pocket. It'll be a decorative piece that goes on top of your slip pocket. I'll show you when we get there. You're going to need a zipper placket. Now, this is actually not in the pattern. She has you do the zipper with interfacing, where it's the zipper's kind of inset and flush with the bag with no overlay. I prefer an overlay. That's my favorite way of doing interior zipper pockets. So I will deviate from the pattern on that. You're going to need a lining slip pocket front, your double pocket piece. And I think I need one more piece. And I apologize. Let me get that real fast. There's one more piece that you're going to need for number 2. You're going to need exterior slip pocket front. So you'll need exterior slip pocket front. That's going to go with your lining slip pocket B. These two will go together. Okay. But first we're going to work on the lining piece. And then, and then you will need, I apologize, I'm getting ahead of myself. You'll need your base piece, then make sure your base piece is interfaced. Now, I did do Decaville Heavy for the base piece for the heavy interfacing, but I also, after I fused the heavy on there, I put a little bit of 101 on there. That's really not necessary. It's something I prefer to do. I would recommend, though, if you have a lighter, or if you're using a lighter weight vinyl, I would definitely use either I don't want to say 2 layers of heavy, because that would be, this is a drop-in lining, so it wouldn't matter if you do 2 layers of heavy, but I would definitely put use the heavy, and then maybe a interface. You can either use the 101, which is a light interfacing woven, or you could use a medium weight woven interfacing. But that helps with, because if it's a lighter weight and you got your base, it'll it gives it more structure, I should say. Okay, your purse feet, you'll need your purse feet. You will need a zipper for your exterior zipper, your zipper tabs. So you'll need zipper tabs, and I have 2 of those. And then purse feet, zipper tabs, your it's your exterior zipper. She gives the measurements in the pattern. I can't give that to you. And then you'll need the, which one is it? I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it, because that still goes on to number 3. So that'll be it on delivery 2. Okay, I hope I didn't confuse you by my confusion. Okay. And as I pull the pieces out, I'll tell you what pieces that I have. Let me put that pattern over here. Keep that out of the way. I've got my rivet press and my hole punch set to the side, because you will be, I just didn't grab, my rivet press is for my purse feet, because I have riveted purse feet. So my rivet press is for that. You can, if you want, she does recommend using a rivet in one of your slip pockets, in your interior slip pocket. I don't have any handy on me. If I do that, I may do that in the end, but we'll see when we get to that. Depends on how the slip pocket looks to me. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do on the delivery number 2, you're going to take one of your lining pieces. Put these other pieces out of the way here. Get that going here. So you're going to take one of your lining pieces, and then you're going to mark your centers. So go ahead and get your centers marked. And again, this just helps. You can mark your centers any way you feel you choose. Again, I'm a little snipper. I'm a snipper. I just do little snips. And that just helps me visually. So there's one like that. You can see, or I just got my centers marked at the top and the bottom. And that helps you with placement of pockets, things of that nature. Okay, now, since I am not doing the interfacing part, I'm just doing a zipper overlay. I'm going to show you how to do the zipper overlay part and attach, but I'm still using the same pockets that she gives you. I apologize. I left the piece out again. A lining slip. No, that's not lining. That's for the front of the bag. My apologies, guys. I'm sorry. There is another piece in here. There we go. How about zip pocket piece? You'll need that. I shouldn't have pulled that up. So you'll need your zip pocket piece. And I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking on that. So again, I'm still using the same zip pocket piece, even though I'm not doing the interfacing part, because this can still be used to make the pocket. So first off, you'll go ahead, and I'm using the measurements in the pattern where she's got how far down to cut the hole for the interfacing and putting the interfacing down. I'm going to use that measurement to place my pocket. And she actually, how she does her tutorials is she's got an exterior, not exterior, but an additional PDF that you would click on to get that. It's not included in the pattern because it takes up the space. So, but you can use that as your guidance to place your zipper pocket. But actually, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and use what I use typically on an exterior or an interior zipper pocket. I'm going to use that measurement, and if you're interested, I place my my zipper overlays. My goodness, I can't talk. Sorry, guys. I have been sick with a sinus infection. No, not trying to whine or anything, but I'm going to tell you what, it has got me down. And it was one of those ones that you just, I had such facial pain. I have not recorded or sewn in a couple of days because I just, it's too much. It was ridiculous, actually. Now I just, I fear I'm getting laryngitis, but hopefully not. Some people might wish. Okay, so I'm putting this 2.5 inches down. I am placing the zipper pocket right over top the lining. I'm not cutting anything at this time. I'm just placing it down. Now I like to, because I'm still waiting on my my labels to come, my labels for the exteriors of the purses. I've got them on order. I just haven't gotten them yet. I like to go ahead and put my little label right underneath the zipper the little zipper overlay. I just stick it right underneath there. That way, at least my name is on the bag. Oh, and I'm going to put my camera down. I'm sorry, I forgot to put the camera down. So this is what I've got done. It's just currently just stuck on by double-sided tape on the back side. I'm sorry, guys. Wasn't thinking and did not put this down so you could see. Let me bring. Okay, sorry. There's going to be a little blip in there. Every time I go to adjust my camera, I activate Siri, and well, we don't like that. So there we go. There's my zipper panel with my little name plate on there. So what we're going to do is we are going to top stitch around the exterior part of the zipper overlay. You're going to go on the exterior part of this overlay. Do not sew at all on this part here, only on this part. And this, again, this is the top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. And I'm going at the increased stitch length of 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie my threads off. Now, if you've not done that before, I will show you this one time how to tie off my threads. But in the futures of this video, to save time, if I tie off any other threads, I will not do a demonstration. I will just do it for this one. So if you're going to do a tie off your threads, you're going to pull your threads along and hold on to them, and then go ahead and start sewing. You're not going to backstitch. You're just going to keep going. And then, of course, you can let go once you get so far in. So you're just going to go ahead and keep your 1/8 inch top stitch here. And I just need to back it up just a smidgen. There we go. Just take your time. I speed up, don't I? Okay, so now that I'm at this part down here and my threads are up here, this is a good time to pull your top thread through. So this is what we refer to as pulling your threads through. So you're going to lift your panel up, go behind the panel and grab that thread and just give it a slight little tug, just the slightest little tug. Grab a pen, a needle. Sometimes I use a seam ripper, but it's hard to see on the camera, but there is a tiny little loop that pops through the back of this, of my lining. You're going to take your needle or whatever you're using and put it in the center of that loop and pull that through. Be very careful that you're not pulling the first thread out, because then you'll have missed stitch or skipped stitches. So you're just going to pull it through and then just kind of set it off to the side like that. And then you're just going to go continue stitching. That way, when you get back around to that hole, you're going to stop your stitching right in that hole, and we'll pull, and I'll show you how to finish it off. So again, continue stitching your zipper overlay. I keep wanting to call it a zipper placket. I don't know why, because it is not a zipper placket. We already made our zipper placket. All right, so we're almost back to the beginning. Let's see, I think we're okay here. So now we're back to the beginning. Make sure those first threads that you pulled through are out of the way so you don't cross them, because if you cross them, then you will have a hard time pulling through your other threads. Just get close to it, and then when you get to a safe spot where you know you're not there, but you're almost there, go ahead, I got to get my light, there we go, and stop sewing, and then you're going to want to use your wheel and go back into that hole so you know you've set right into that hole, and then just pull your needle back up, just like you're manually stitching. So go ahead and grab your piece, pull gently, and you've got to pull your threads long, so you're going to give a pull, hold on to those threads, and then snip. Now you want to keep these a little long because you're going to pull these threads through. So give it a pull, pull it long enough to where you know when you cut it, your threads don't go back into the machine or your needle doesn't unthread. Hang on to those threads, okay? Don't let go. Flip your piece and then grab the back thread so you know which thread you're pulling. Again, if you pull the wrong thread, it will cause a skip stitch. So grab this thread. That's why I have you hold on to it. Go ahead and let go of the front thread. Give this a little yank until you get that little loop again, just like you did on when you started. Give it a little pull. Pull that thread out and give that back. Keep hold on to these two threads, and then just again, just like we're saying, tying them off. This is when you tie them off. So you just give it a good tie. I like to do at least 3 knots. And then what I do, this is my personal preference, after my 3 knots, I'll keep the threads a little longer so they don't pull through. And what I'm going to do, again, this is my deal, is I'm going to take some double-sided tape, or you can use regular, you can use duct tape or whatever. I take my threads and pull them up out of the way, because you're going to be sewing in this area, so you don't want those threads. I will go ahead and just pull those up and stick a little tape there like that. That's just my security. That helps make sure I know that the threads aren't going to be pulled through. That's the thing that I have. Okay, so what you're going to do then is you're going to take your piece and you're going to snip right in the center of this the zipper panel, of the zipper overlay. You're going to snip right in the center. Some people use seam rippers to snip or start your snips. I just fold it over and snip it, and then you're going to cut down to the edge. And then what you're going to do is flip it back, flip it wrong side up, and then snip. When you snip on the sides, go in a little bit, just past the edge of your, I'm trying to see if I can show you here. You're going to snip just past the edge of your zipper, your overlay. You can see a little bit right there. You're just going to snip past it. Basically what you're doing, and then you're going to go ahead and cut down just below the edge of the zipper, of the overlay again. And I'll show you here real quick. I'll show you, I'll do a half cut and half not cut so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, you're going to cut just below that line. See how I did that? It's not pretty, it's not straight, but it's just below it. And if you look on the front, on the bottom where I did the snipping, you can tell that you cannot see the lining. That's what you're wanting to achieve. You just want that lining out of the way, because that's where you're going to put your zipper. Right through that, obviously, you're going to put your zipper there. But meaning, when you put your zipper there, you won't see your lining at all, and that'll have it be a nice window for your zipper. So here, I'll show you the whole thing here. So there you go. That's what you want it to look like. Clean on the front. It can be a little messy, but as long as that's not, your lining is not overhanging in your little window there, okay? So we're going to take this piece, set it aside for a quick second, and then I'm going to see, let's set that down here because it's big. All right, I'm going to get a section of my zipper. She does give you the measurements of the zipper and the pattern, so you do know what the measurement is. Now, when I do a zipper pattern, I usually go a hair longer, because I like my zipper to hang over a little bit in case I, for whatever reason, I cut it short. I don't know. I just always like to cut it over just a tad bit. So I'm going to remind myself how wide this is and cut my zipper. And I'm just using the same zipper throughout the pattern. Get my zipper scissors. I can't speak. I can't talk at all. Oops, I lost my place. And then give your zipper tape a cut. If you're using tape by the foot, or whatever you call it, tape by the yard, or make sure you singe the edges of your zipper tape. Need to keep an eye on my time though. What time is it? Okay, oops, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and work on the zipper here. So I'm going to put some zipper, double-sided tape on my zipper, and then get that done. I just put it on, let's see, let me make sure I do it right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this taped up, and then we're going to, I'll show you how to tape this up here in just a quick second. I'll be right back. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to put some double-sided tape on the top of my zipper pocket. I'm going to lay it long ways, okay? I'm going to put it, and the reason why I'm going to put it right onto this, I'm using the double-sided tape. Number one, I prefer that, even if I wasn't using slippery, but this poly nylon stuff, it is slippery, and my zipper will slip. Even if I take the clip off, it's more prone to slip. So I'm going to just, again, plus I like the double-sided tape. So I'm going to place it on the top there. I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing. And then I'm going to place my zipper, the top. If you're looking at the zipper with the teeth up, you're going to take the back of the top and place it right over top of that pocket. Now, if you just cut your zipper just the length that she gives you, you want to make sure you center it. But since I cut mine a little long, I don't need to go through that marking the centers, so because I've got my little extra there. So just place it on there like that. And then what you're going to do is you are going to go ahead and sew the seam allowance that she gives on the zipper pocket. There we go. Again, I always back stitch on. Don't forget to change your stitch length too, if you prefer to change it, I should say. So let's go ahead and get this stitched on. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your zipper and take it up like this and fold it to where the zipper teeth and the wrong side of the piece are facing up. Now, sometimes what you can do, now you're going to have like, this is going to be kind of flipped up. Now, if you're using cotton, you can iron it. Just be careful not to hitch the teeth of your zipper. But you can either use double-sided tape to hold that down. I like to just go in and give it a little stitch. It's not really that big a deal. I know there's a little bit of tape there, but this should be okay. If your machine doesn't like the tape that's already there, you could use clips to attach it and then sew this down. I just like to give this a little stitch, and that holds it flat, especially with this type of lining pocket, the lining that I'm using for this pocket. And I'll show you what I just did here in 2 seconds. So what I did, if you can see, there's like another stitch below. So that's what I did, is I just gave it a little stitch, and that helps keep that flat. You don't see it flopping up like you did before. Okay, so then what you're going to do then, put another row of double-sided tape, or if you prefer, you can just clip, but I'm going to put my double-sided tape down real quick to the right side up of this lining. And we're getting some good rain, you guys. I'm telling you, I look up, every time I look up, I see the trees blowing with all that nice pollen in them trees. Oh. So I'm going to get that placed here. I'm just making sure it's not puckered on the bottom there. Okay. So I got my double-sided tape here on the right side of the lining, and I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Now it's going to look like your lining is like you're doing it wrong, but trust me, it will work correctly. So you're going to take this and you're going to fold it up to the top of the zipper. Now, typically, when you do lining like this, typically your piece is in 2 pieces. Your lining pockets are cut in 2 pieces, but in her pattern, she gives you the one full piece like this. And again, I just cut it that length. I'm going to show you what I do when it's like this, when I change the way I install the zipper, but still use their measurements when they give it like this versus in 2 pieces. So I will show you here in just a moment what I'm doing, but you're going to take this and bring it up to the top of the zipper like this, and just make sure you line it up with the sides of your pocket that's already sewn on. And then you're just going to line it to the top of your zipper tape. Like that. So it looks like that. So it's completely closed on the bottom, and you got it like that. And so you can see it's lined up to top, and then you've got your pocket. Now this looks like a nice, complete, neat pocket, but we're going to actually cut this pocket in 2, because when you sew this to this placket, to the lining, you will need to flip up one of your pieces of your pocket, or else you sew it shut. Trust me, I know. But first, we're going to base this zipper onto the lining. So we're going to do that. And again, go ahead and stitch it on. Now you can just, I would just top stitch this like at an 1/8, because you don't want, especially since I'm using a contrasting thread, you don't really want it to show through if you're trying to line your zipper up in your placket. Or not your placket, but your zipper overlay. See, I keep calling it placket. In your zipper overlay, you don't want to see the stitching. Okay, so you've got that. Now you're going to take a decent pair of scissors, not those scissors. I'm going to get like good scissors. And then you're just going to flatten out your pocket like this. Again, this is not the method she gives in her pattern. It's a little different. You don't cut your pocket in her pattern. This is the way I'm doing it, because since I'm using her piece. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch it cut it like this in half, so my pocket's even. Now it will get a little bit of a rise, but this is even. That way you don't have to worry about wasting pockets, because typically in patterns where you do a zipper overlay, you cut the same piece, the same length, and then you end up with one shorter piece than the other. I don't like that. This works for me when you install it. I like this way, doing it this way. All right, so you're going to grab your piece that's got the zipper overlay on that. Okay, get that piece and bring it back out. Now your piece, your zipper pocket, you're going to go ahead and do some double-sided tape. Now, you definitely want to use double-sided tape in this method. This really does make this way a lot easier when you install the zipper pocket with the zipper overlay. So you're going to put some double-sided tape at the top of your zipper tape and at the bottom of the zipper tape. I'll show you here what I did. Just make sure it's pushed on good. But you're going to put tape at the bottom and at the top of just the zipper tape. All right. Go ahead and make sure you know where your centers are. You can mark it or give it a little fold. Just kind of, and you're wanting to know where your centers are, so when you put this pocket on, you don't have the pocket moved over where it's not sealed properly. It's kind of, you can draw a little line. I'm just drawing this tiniest little red dot right there. That's not going to show up when I put it on, and that just helps me place my center. So I'm going to remove just only the top of the backing on the zipper tape, on the top of the zipper tape, I should say. I'm just removing just the one for right now. All right, noticing where my center is, I'm going to line it up to the center of the top of my lining your zipper in that window, and making sure you've got an equal amount of zipper tape showing in your thing. And if you're happy with it, you can go ahead and place the bottom. I'm not really happy. It's got too much at the bottom and not enough at the top. So I'm going to go raise it up just a little bit. Need a little more. I like this zipper color. There we go. So I like the looks of the evenness of my zipper tape showing through the pocket. So I'm just going to lift up the lining, remove the tape off the bottom of my zipper tape, my zipper tape, and then take it and place it and just lay it down, and then just give it a good little hand press like that, making sure you're not losing your zipper tape, because sometimes this will shift a little bit. So just kind of give it a little, work it a little bit. Now, this is when I actually put on my zipper pull. In case you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, you forgot her zipper pull. I haven't forgotten it. I prefer, after I set my zipper in my little zipper window, I prefer to put my zipper pull on afterwards, because when you put a zipper pull on, it gives it like a little hump, and then you got to work around it. And honestly, it annoys me. So I did not put my zipper pull on yet. Now I'm going to put it on. So really all I got to do is I'm just going to lift this up, because see, I've got that extra overhang. I'm just going to go ahead and lift this up and then put my zipper pull on now. And then I'm just going to, you know, squish it through that little window. You may have to lift it off the tape just a smidgen, but it's on the edge and you're not going to see the whole lot. And I'm just going to make sure my zipper pulls on straight. Say, since I've got that overage, I can pull it on enough to make sure everything's good. My zipper looks good. I'm going to go ahead and just push it through. I'm just basically pushing it through. And that's how I install my zipper pulls. Now, have I forgotten? Yes, I have, many a time. And I just unstitch just a portion of it to do it. And I have installed zipper pulls where I've had this all sewn up, and I just unstitch it just enough to install the zipper pull, because I hate unstitching, and I try to find a way to get around it, honestly. All right, so I'm just pulling this through this little zipper pull. It's a little circle, and it's kind of a little bit bigger, so you just got to be careful with that. And then I'm just going to place my lining back down. Just make sure it's straight when you place it back down, and your zipper's on. And then that way, like I say, that's how I do it, so it's not interfering with my installation of my looks of my zipper tape. So we're going to pull the threads through again, like we did at the top lining. But first, when we lay this back down, what you're going to do is you're going to pull this, the upper part of your lining pocket, pull it out of the way. Just pull it enough to where you know it's out of the way, but you don't yank on it, because then you're going to mess up your zipper if you start yanking on it. And then go ahead and start stitching. And if you stitch well enough in the little space there, you may not actually hit part of that pocket, but if you do, it's not a big deal, because when you fold the pocket back down, it'll be fine. But so we're going to pull our threads along just like we're going to tie the threads off just like we did on the exterior part. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this on, and again, you're just going on the inner part where you haven't sewn yet, and that attaches the zipper pocket to the panel. So I'm going to do a stitch. Again, I'm not going to explain anything, just going to go ahead and stitch, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I got my zipper top stitched in there, and again, that was on the inner part of it. So there's my zipper. All right, so we got it nice and cleaned up there. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take the piece that was up like that when you sewed it, take it and fold it down to meet the sides, and just pull it down to where it's tight. Now you may it may not meet exactly even though we cut it, because when we sew on the placket to the zipper, sometimes it catches a little bit, again, which is fine. You're just going, what your primary concern here is lining up the sides of your zipper pocket. Okay, so that's what you mainly want. You want to concern with is lining those sides up, because you're going to sew your pocket shut now. So get that pushed down and line them up, and make sure you've got these nice and lined up. Just put some clips in to hold it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sew this pocket completely shut, since this is a drop-in lining. So you're going to sew it completely shut all the way around, all three sides. And then when you get to the bottom, I'm going to trim this off here, because when I get to the bottom, because I have to sew it opposite of this. I'm just going to trim that little bit. And it's only about 1/4 of an inch that you're going to trim off. It's not much. The other way that people do when you cut your pocket in two before you sew it together, you end up cutting like 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. I mean, it's fine, but again, I like this way. So flip it back right side up, take your side of your lining and pull it out of the way. And then what you're going to do is, you can see a little bit of my zipper tape, but if you look real close, you can see some of my lining here. So you're just pulling it right up to where the stitches are. Don't yank or pull too tight, because of course you'll rip or pull stitches. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to sew your pocket shut. And then when you go over that, and you should be able to go over the zipper, because the zipper should be nylon, so it shouldn't damage your needle. The only time I've had them break my needles is if I land right on a tooth. But typically they get out of the way. So you're going to start up here at the top of the zipper tape and then go all the way down. And you can sew depending on your needs. This one I'm just going to go 1/4 of an inch in, of course back stitch, and I'm just going to go 1/4 of an inch in and then sew my pocket shut. Get to the bottom and then flip the bottom of your lining up so you exposes your pocket, and then just sew across. Again, making sure your lining is completely shut. You're not leaving your lining open at all. And then just kind of move your lining around a little bit. Get that little tug. There we go. And then finish it up. And just make sure you back stitch. And your lining pocket is complete. Now, what you want to do, especially if you cut your zipper tape a little long, you can go ahead and trim those off so they're not sticking out so much, but do not snug it. I would not snug it up to your pocket. I would still leave it a little bit long, maybe 1/4, 3/8 inch long past the pocket. I feel like that helps with when you're tugging on that zipper, opening and shutting it. It kind of gives it somewhere, I don't know what I want to say. I don't want to say somewhere to go, but it gives it a little bit of leverage, I guess you could say. I don't know. But of course, since we snipped on our zipper tape, we got to singe those ends again. And yes, I do go through a lot of lighters. Well, not a lot, but depends on actually how much I sew. So there you go. That is one side of your zipper lining. You've got your zipper pocket in, and it is complete. Okay, so you're going to set this aside, and you actually won't need this piece again until towards the end. Now you're going to grab your other lining piece. Go ahead and mark your centers first, and then we're going to get your centers. Okay, and then once you get your centers, let me go ahead and turn my pattern piece to get that information. Okay, you're going to grab your double pocket piece. So this is your double pocket piece. Did I cut it right? Yeah. So you're going to take your double pocket piece here, and then what you're going to do is you're going to fold it right sides together. Okay, actually no, you're not. I'm going to do something different. She's got you doing it a different way. I'm going to change it up. I'm sorry, I apologize. What you're going to do on your double pocket piece, you're going to go, and then you're going to go in on the long edges and mark 1/2 of an inch in on your long edges. And I need to grab me a ruler. I don't have a proper ruler, so I'm going to quick pause and I'll be back with a ruler. Okay, sorry, I had to go get me my ruler. Just all I could find was my short one or a really big one. So what you're going to do is grab, since this is a lighter color, I'm just going to use a lighter colored pen, but you're going to go in and you're going to mark, actually going to mark 1 inch in on the sides. Again, this is a little different. She's got you stitching up the pockets and then turning it right side out. I prefer this way because this is a nice, clean way of doing lining pockets. I like that you're not worrying about turning things inside, right side out, and trying to get those edges crisp. I think this gives you a nice crisp edge doing it this way. And I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do here in 2 seconds. Okay, so you've got that. You put your lines like that, just 1 inch in. And then I am going to, once again, get out my double-sided tape. And I'm going to tape down alongside the long edge of the edge of the long side of the pockets on each side. Okay, so I'm just going to put some tape here. And what this does is I'm going to fold the edges in to get me a nice clean folded edge in. And put my slip piece, my little bias piece at the top there. So you got your pieces there. And then what you're going to do is when you're going to remove one side of your double-sided tape backing, remove one side of it, and then fold the raw edge up to the line. Okay, and then what that's going to, again, that's going to give you a nice folded edge, clean edge on the pocket. So you're going to fold that in like that. See how I folded that in right up to the line. I'm going to do that on both sides. Like that. Okay, just press it down good so it sticks. So both of these sides are like that. Do you see how I've got the folded edges in? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it wrong sides together like this, where my edges are already completely sewn. And what that does is when I put them, and I'm going to line up the top of the raw edges like that. I'm going to put a clip at the top because what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten it out. And then I'm going to fold it down. And usually what I do is I take like my tip of my scissors and just kind of give it a nice little straighten. And that helps with increases. And I'll show you here in just a second. Let me clip it. Let me do the other side. Clip the top so it's held straight. Again, you're going to put your raw edges together at the top and fold it wrong sides together. I got to give it a little clean edge tug. There you go. And then you've got that nice clean edges are just nice and crisp, and you don't have to worry about cleaning it out, digging it, snipping corners, and it's still, you can't get it to look like a nice clean edge. All right, so just hold your clip, put your clips there and hold that pocket folded shut. And then you're going to take your bias strip, and your bias strip, you're going to mark the center of your bias strip and put double-sided tape on each side of the long edge on the bias strip. Make sure the bias strip is cut out of a non-fraying material because this is going to be raw edged onto the pocket. So you're going to take your pocket and then you're going to lay it down, okay, right below the line, because when you fold it over, of course, you need that little bit of a cush for the fold over. So put it right below the line on top of the side of the where you've got the tape backing off, okay? And you're going to lay it down like that. I'm going to pull it up and so you can see how I've got it stuck to the back. And then remove the double-sided tape from the top edge of your bias strip and then fold it down over top. Get this clip out of the way. Fold it down over the top of your pocket. And then you're just going to take it and fold it down, trying to keep it as straight as possible. Now you can baste your pocket shut at the top so it stays shut when you put this on, because this is kind of a stiff vinyl, but I'm just going to clip it and hold it down so that it doesn't puff up. Okay, and then you're going to have your bias strip like that. That gives you a real nice, pretty look finish of your top of your pocket versus just doing all kinds of, just like I said, turn things inside out. So you're just going to take your bias strip there and you're going to top stitch first to the bottom. You want to go 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom and then top stitch there first. And make sure you backstitch at the beginning and the end of your pocket. And you can just go like 1 stitch in, or maybe if you're more comfortable doing 2. But don't go too far in, because then it starts to get noticeable that you're backstitching, especially if your thread is contrasting. Just kind of go slow, make sure you get that, okay? So I've top stitched at the bottom, and that pretty much holds the bottom shut well, because you know it's attached. So you're gonna, and then I'm gonna top stitch again at the top, 1/8 of an inch from the top edge. And that just gives it a nice finish. It flattens out your piece, and it gives you a nice, I like that little bit of a double stitch there. All right. And there's your lining pocket. Like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to take, when this sewn onto the thing, you're going to put your nicest front between, if you look at your front and your back, you pick the nicest look, because sometimes the back sometimes gets a little wobbly, but actually the back is straight. It looks, actually don't look too bad. Now if you have overages too, you snip those off, just put them flush with your pocket. Like that, just snip them off. Make sure your threads are cleaned up too, because you do want these pieces to be flush with your pocket. So I'm going to put, I like this flower right in the center. That's really pretty. I like that. So you're going to fold this in half, mark your center a certain way. I'm going to fold it in half, and then just hopefully the crease in my pocket shows my center. And then you're going to put your pocket where she tells you to put it in the pattern. And I'm looking for how far down. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get my ruler. I'm going to go from the center. I usually line one of the lines up of my ruler with that center. So that tells me, that helps me out when I place my pocket. Let's see, my line, this is the ruler, is not great with my lines. There we go. Okay, so that's what I do, is I just lay my ruler down and have my line, and then with my piece folded, I'm going to lay my pocket down. Now there are a couple different ways, several different ways you can do your pocket. People who use these sew tights, some people use washi tapes. Some people will just put double-sided tape right along the edge, like 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape along the edge here to hold your pocket still before you sew it. So when you sew it on, it's not shifting. I'm going to trust that I can hold on to my pocket. This is one place that I don't typically use double-sided tape, believe it or not, because I just try to hold on to my pocket the best I can. So I got my marking here. I'm going to go down to make sure the rest of it is the right measurement. Shift everything down a little bit, just a smidgen. There we go. Double check my center. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate my pocket and try really hard not to move my pocket. There we go. And then make sure there we go. My threads are out of the way. And you're going to top stitch this 1/8 of an inch away from the edges onto your lining. Now I am back stitching because obviously the back stitch will reinforce the pocket edge somewhat. So I'm going to stitch there. Again, it's 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and you're going to go all the way around. Now you can make, when she calls it a double pocket, that's because you're going to divide it in half and put a swirl of stitching in the center. But I'm going to show you. We're going to measure that out to find the center. Well, we already kind of sort of know where the center is because we did it. But again, like I said, I'm just doing some back stitching here to hold that, tack that in. And then cut your threads. Make sure your threads are trimmed off. All right. Now, what you're going to do to make that center pocket, so the pocket's not like tugged, you're going to go ahead and make your mark where your center is. Now, you can draw a line. you can do a center pocket, or you can do some short pockets. I prefer to like to put some pen pockets in my bags. So what I'm going to do, instead of making it a 2 pocket, I'm going to put a marking to where I can slip a pen and have a pen slipped in here. What I'm going to go from the edge of the stitching for my pen placement. Let's see, there's 2 inches. That should give me actually 2 pens. I should be able to slip 2 pens. Let me make sure I can check. Let me get 1 pen here. There's 1 pen. And I should be able to get 2 pens. So I'm going to go 2 inches. If you really want to make sure you've got enough room, if you've got like a fat pen, you can go 2.5 inches in, which I think I'm going to. I'm going to go 2.5 inches in from my stitching. And then I'm going to actually draw a removable line. Say heat pens. All I got to do is put a little steam on there. I don't actually have to like hit it, but I can just do some steam. It'll make the line go away. I'm going to draw a line, but I'm just going to go below the bias strip to the top of the stitching on this pocket, where this pocket is sewn on. So I'll show you here. Let me get a, see where I just drew my line, just a faint little line. It's nothing heavy. And then I'm going to stitch from the top of where my pocket is sewn on to my lining up to the bottom of this. I'm going to put a rivet here to hold this, reinforce this pocket where the pens go. And because I'm not stitching at the top, I don't have to worry about when I punch my hole for my rivet that it's not punching my stitching, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to give it I am going to back stitch it. There we go. Since it's at the bottom of my pocket, I don't need to worry about hiding my threads, my back stitching. I'm going to get one more little stitch there. Okay. Like I said, I'm just doing a little back stitch on that. You can't really tell that I back stitched on this. Then I'm going to snip the threads here. Okay, and see, I just started right below, and then I'm going to put a rivet right here in the center, and then I'll be able to get two pens here, and then this could be a cell phone pocket. It could be just a miscellaneous, but you've got a larger size pocket here. Even, you know, doing it that way. So you've got a place to put your pens. So that is your lining pieces. They are done for now. You won't need your lining pieces again until the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to, actually, we're going to move on to, let's see, 15, 14, 16. We are going to move, it's actually step number 25 on delivery 2. So we'll move on to that step. We're going to take a pause, and then when I come back, we will finish this up. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. I had to get my jacket on, and I am freezing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put my rivet on for that pocket where I was talking about, the slip pocket. Let me get that on because I don't want to forget that I needed to do that. So I'm going to grab my rivet. Now you can, if I had thought about it, I could have done it that way. But you can, if you want, if you don't stitch, you can't see that. If you do the same thing to the sides as well as I did here, you can also put a rivet on each side there. Trying to see, my rivets are, let me fall down. But I've got that stitching there, so I can't do it where the stitching at, but I think I can place a hole right beside that stitching. I should be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put rivets on each end as well. Again, that's just to secure the pocket, and I think it's a nice look too. I do like the looks of it. So let me give me a couple more rivets out. My post, and I forgot what these little guys are called again. As soon as I remember what they're called, post and stems and posts, I think, something like that. I don't know. Could be making it up. All right, So I'm going to punch the holes. Again, let me get these out of the way. I'm going to go right beside this, since I already stitched there at the top. I'm just going to go right beside it of that, so I don't lose rivet, or I should say I don't lose hole, don't lose space. I'm going to go right beside of it on the edge. Actually, I'm going on the edge out in that seam allowance. Put a punch there, and then put a punch here. Just centerize it. You can measure it out and whatnot, but I'm just eyeballing it because it's not a big space that you have to worry about. Okay. And then on this side as well. Alright. So again, I just punched little holes. I put one there, and then one there. So I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to put, because this is a not a real heavy duty lining, I'm going to put a little bit of Decaville behind it. I got some Decaville scraps here, and I'm going to put a little bit of Decaville on the back side of it. That just reinforces that rivet, and it gives them some space because the rivets are little, the stems are a little long, and you need a little bit of I'm trying to think of the word. You need a little bit of layers back there. I'm gonna do it this way, and you don't need much. Just this is Decaville light. I'm just going to fold it over. And you don't need, like I said, you can just cut like little tiny pieces like that. These are 2 layers, 2 holes cut out with layers. Yeah, I don't even know what I just said. A piece folded over with the hole punched through the center, like that is all I did. All right, let's get these little guys out of the way. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put the stem through the front. Typically you put the stem through the front. That's generally what you do. I mean, it's not like a crime if you don't, but oh, it looks nice. I like that. I like that I chose the antique brass color as my hardware color. Goes really nice with these colors. And I'll show you here in just a second what I'm doing. I mean, you can see from a distance, but I'll hold it up to the camera and show you what I did. So there's my little pieces of Decaville. Again, it's just 2 layers of light, and I just put them over the stems, and then I'll just put the little caps over top of that. Just snap them on. And again, that gives a little reinforcement, plus it gives a little bit of thickness to that because of how thin this piece is. And then we'll just go ahead and press it down. I might rivet press right here. I'm not going to move it. I'm just going to. There we go. Whoa. Causing a ruckus here on my edge of my table here. Alrighty, I do like the looks of that. I'm glad I did it on all points. There you go. So I've got one on each end. And like I said, you don't, typically when you put them on the ends like that, you don't do the stitching on that piece, which I shouldn't have. I just wasn't thinking. But then I got it one there where these are for my pens, and then on each end. That looks really, really nice. I really like it. Okay, now let's set it aside again. Sorry about that. So the next step, you are going to take your lining slip pocket B front. There is 2 lining slip pocket B's. There's a front and a back. You want the front is the one you want for this piece. Lining slip pocket front B, and then lining slip pocket front hold on, I'm reading. Sorry. Attach the lining slip pocket B to exterior slip pocket front. Okay, lining slip pocket B to exterior slip pocket front. Okay, and I'm using this. I'm telling you what, I just absolutely love this color. I'm going to say it again. This is Biscuit from Tulip B. I love this color. So you're going to take it and you're going to match the, see how you got the shorter end here? You're going to take the longer edge of the slip pocket, wrong sides together, to the top edge of your exterior slip pocket front piece. Go ahead and clip that. And then you're going to sew this on to this with the seam allowance that she gives you in the pattern. Okay, which is a little different. I'm going to say this. It is a little different than her standard seam allowance. So pay attention to what she writes in the pattern for the seam allowance to attach this pocket, this lining to the pocket. Okay, again, back stitching. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to open this up like this, and then you're going to take your lining pocket, bring it down, and you're going to have your exterior pocket, exterior slip pocket A piece. You're going to have that seam allowance towards the lining pocket. And then you're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from where your lining pocket is folded back. You're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from that. Now you can go ahead and increase your stitch length. This will be hidden behind the pocket, but you're going to be top stitching your pocket down a little bit anyways. So you can go ahead and increase your stitch length, and also just make sure your pocket is flattened so it's not crooked or messed up. So just go ahead and top stitch that. Alrighty. And then what you're going to do after that is you're going to take the bottom edge of your lining pocket and take it and bring it all the way down to the bottom edge of your exterior slip pocket front, like that, where these two meet together. You will be folding over some of your exterior pocket that will be put behind, and then clip these two edges together, the raw edges together, clip them like that. So you're going to clip those together like that. And then just kind of, I'm trying to turn my page here so I can follow. Yeah. And then you're going to fold it down and then just hold on to that so it doesn't slip up. But you're going to take this and then just press it down like that and just give it a press like that. And then if you want to make sure it holds, you can go ahead and throw some clips here. Just to kind of hold it in place. Just be careful that you don't scratch your vinyl. Just hold it like that. That'll just hold it flush. So that way you got a nice, clean front exterior pocket. I'm just making sure it's flat on the front too, because sometimes when you fold it from the back, the front doesn't get flat. So top stitch this, and you're going to, in her pattern, she recommends you do a double top stitch on the up here or the folded edges. So you're going to top stitch right here, and she recommends you do 2 top stitching stitches. You can do 1, you can do 2. I do prefer the 2, so I'll go ahead and do that. She does tell you how to do it. I mean, of course, your first one will be the 1/8, and then your second one, she tells you where to measure from there to do that second stitch length. Get a hold of my string to cut it off. There we go. And then do your second row if you prefer. There you go. So there's your exterior slip pocket front is what this is. I am going to, and then she doesn't say anything about basting this down. I'm not going to do it because I'm pretty sure the reason why you don't is because this is where your strap handles are going to go. Typically, that's how you hold them down and they get basted. So at this point, if you want to baste it shut, you can. Actually, I'm going to go ahead. I prefer to do that. That way, it's not, you know, flopping. I just go ahead and prefer that because there's no reason. Actually, there is a reason. I'm going to just do that one side because you're going to attach your, you got to attach hardware to this pocket. She recommends a thumb lock. I am not doing a thumb lock because I don't, I'm just not a big fan of thumb locks. Besides, I don't have a thumb lock in this, the hardware collar that I have. I am actually using, and I think I went over that in the beginning, a turn lock. So I will show you how I install the turn lock. It's going to be obviously slightly different than a thumb lock because a thumb lock is where you push it down into underneath like a little strap kind of thing and then push it to pull it up. So that will be installed on the end of the strap or end of the flap, whereas the turn lock will not be. So that is an alteration in the pattern that I'm doing since I don't have a thumb lock. So I'm going to keep this with this. So I know what this piece is for. I'm going to keep these clipped together. And then the last thing that we are doing with, no, not the last thing. We still got a couple more things. Next, we're almost to the end of the delivery part 2, is the base. She has you, in this part, go ahead and install the feet to the base of the purse or the bag. So I've already marked on my piece where the feet go. And she gives you direction on the feet. I'm installing 5 purse feet. I'm going to do one in the center because it looks like it's like a lot, to me it's a larger purse just from the size of it. And I want that center foot in on my purse. I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and punch the holes in my base. You want to make sure when you do the hole punches and after you install the interfacing. Do not put your purse feet on without your interfacing because you need that buffer. I'm just punching the holes there in my bag, or my bottom, I should say. This I might have to do some finagling with this. I could get the other punch, but I have a Japanese hole punch, or they call a Japanese hole punch. It's like a handheld thing, but I don't want to pause the video again just to go get something. There we go. We got it. It just scrunched it up a little bit. That can easily work its way out. Okay. One more. Now, again, I have rivet purse feet. It's the bucket feet. You can use, smaller purse feet. That is completely up to you on what purse feet you use. But I have the rivet bucket feet that I get from Cam Snaps. I'm going to use these on this. I like to use these on the larger bags. Okay. And because these are, see these stems on these bucket feet? They are big, large stems. And I find that there's not enough layers for this to be snapped on. It's, to me, they're not secure enough. So I always go ahead and stick a little bit of extra layers in there. You can use whatever you want. I've got a ton of Decaville light scrap pieces that I cannot use. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing like I did behind my rivets on my slip pocket. I'm just going to punch some holes in a couple layers of this Decaville light. Again, all this is just to bulk up behind my rivets. So it's not something that needs to be big, large, or, you know, take up a lot of space. All right. So you're going to go ahead and put your post through on these. Oops, forgot to put my Decaville in there. Put it through the Decaville, the little piece of the Decaville there, and then poke it up through the base. I'm going to go ahead and put my post put in all of my posts first. Okay. Try not to take too long. This seems like my fingers just don't want to work right now. Just want to get these through, because that way when I can get my, flip it all over and then just snap the purse feet on. Oops, I need one more little piece of Decaville. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've only got, I need to get another, I see what I do. I need to get another purse foot. I need another foot. I'm missing a foot. So we're going to do that. We're just going to put these on, and then I'm just going to do, I'll do that one off camera. There's no sense me holding it up. Just snap them on like that. And then I'll then rivet them on. That's all you're going to do with the base right now. I got to rivet them on, but I need my bucket post for my bucket to sit in. I don't have that with me, and that's in my stuff, so I'll get that later. But basically, we're going to set these in and then set this aside once you attach the feet to your bag. I'm missing one. I'll have that on the next video, so we will do that. All right, now the last thing that we're going to work on in this pattern is just ready a zipper. There's going to be a zipper, exterior zipper on the bag. So we're just going to get that prepped. Is all you have to do for this particular part of it. And that will be the end of delivery 2, I promise. So I'm going to get my zipper. I got to get my length of my zipper. Okay. I'll get this cut. I didn't, like I said, I haven't cut my zipper. I'm just cutting as I go. Right there. And this you do want to be accurate on, because you are going to put zipper ends on there. And I'll show you what I mean by zipper ends. You'll seal it off the ends prior to installing the zipper. It's not going to be like an open-ended zipper, like on our, you know, main zipper panel or our zipper pocket. You're actually going to close these ends off prior to installation of the zipper. So let me get this clip so this doesn't unravel when I put it away. It's good. All right. So let's go ahead and melt my ends of my zipper. Again, just like I say, make sure your zipper is the correct length. Don't over measure your zipper. And make sure your things are straight too. This looks a little, because it does make a difference. Make sure these are straight. All right. One more time. One more. Whoa. One more shot. Okay. So then you're going to get your zipper tabs. Okay. And I'm using the black, embossed black for my ends of my zipper tape, because this is going to be part of my exterior of my bag. How does she have you do this? Okay. So she has you fold it in half, but only fold back one. Add the tabs to, I'm reading. Okay, fold them in half. wrong sides together. That's that, doing it that way. There's your exterior there, and these are wrong sides together. Add the tabs to the end like this. Okay. Top stitch. Trim the layer of fabric and the zipper that remains behind the first layer to decrease the bulk. That doesn't make sense to me. Match the raw edges of the tabs to the short ends of the zipper. I am stuck, guys. I don't know what I'm not understanding. Because the way she has it is you flip it back, but that doesn't. So let me look at this. I think we're supposed to do it this way. And then you fold out one piece and flap it out like that. If I'm understanding correctly, I think this is, the way I'm reading it doesn't make sense to me, and I apologize for not completely understanding, but from the way I look at the pictures and the way it looks like she has you do it, you fold it, it says wrong sides together. Well, that doesn't make sense because then she's got you folding out a piece like this, like that, and you can't sew it wrong sides together and then flap it out because then you've got the wrong side out. That doesn't make sense to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the zipper tab right sides together, put it on the end of the zipper tape and sew it at the seam allowance that she's given, and then do the other step that she's telling you to do. And I'll show you that step in here in just a second. All right, so we're going to stitch this. I don't know. I'm reading it and I'm just not, I don't know. Maybe it's me and the way I read patterns. I apologize. And if anybody knows the right way of doing this after they watch my video, let me know what I'm misunderstanding. I don't know. Again, I just can't, my brain's not wrapping around how she's got it worded. But I think this way is just sufficient. It's still just fine, and it's going to achieve the same result as she wants. So she has you trimming away this back piece to reduce bulk, and just give it, just not too close to the edge of that. And then you're going to fold this piece back and top stitch this. I forgot. Oh, I can do my zipper. Don't forget your zipper pull. I can put it on the other end. That's fine. And then top stitch here. Just make sure your zipper tab is even with your zipper tape. If you have to snip just a smidgen, then you can do that. And make sure it's not too short. That's the key, is you don't want it too short. So there's your zipper tab there. You want on each end. So let me get my zipper put on. I have the zipper out. What I do with it? There it is. Because like I said, this is going to be a closed zipper when you put it on your bag. Well, there you go. Just A lot of people have zipper jigs stuff. When I first started putting zipper pulls on, I tell you what, I had a heck of a time figuring this out. And actually how I learned to do a zipper pull is Sally Tomato has a video out there. It's an older video, it's a couple years old. She has a video out there, and I watched her show how to do it, and then it just took me a couple practices and I was able to figure it out, and I don't need a zipper jig or anything. But it just took a couple practices is all it did. All right. And you know, for all intents and purposes, I think we're just going to do it this way. Just going to do it this way. I think, yeah. Make sure it's pushed up against there, yeah. I know I'm doing this wrong. Again, I just not, I don't know. I just can't get my head wrapped around her directions. And it's probably some of them really, really easy. Really easy, and I'm just not getting it. All right. But I think we still achieved the same result, so we're good. As long as we've got the little tabs sticking out and our zipper, with our zipper tabs is long enough to fit the bag when we put the bag together, or put the zipper on the bag. So that is what we got there. This is, just make sure you know, remember which is your opening side, because it does make a difference when you install it on the bag. So this is that, and this is the end of delivery number 2 on the Shamballa's Secret Sew 2025. It's Parvati. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that if you find me by search, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. If you are a subscriber and you found this and you do like my video, please let me know. I would appreciate it. It is a lot of work to put a tutorial out, and I tell you what, a lot of respect for the individuals who already do all of these tutorials, because I'm gonna tell you what, it's a lot of work. I enjoy doing the tutorials. The editing, not so much, but that is obviously part of the tutorial. So, thank you again. Thank you so much for watching. Give me a like if you do like this video, and I've still got the rest of the bag to complete. So please turn on your notification bells, as well as other videos that I'm putting out. And don't forget, I'm still doing my 60 to 60. And so I am trying to put something out, some kind of content out each day until June 10th when I turn 60. Just something fun I thought I'd try to do and challenge myself, and which it is challenging to myself, which I like it. It makes me think every day of something new to try to put out. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Bye.